The Supreme Court is the most important court in the judicial branch of the U.S. government. It is known as the court of last resort. That means it has the final say on all legal matters. It decides if laws that have been passed are constitutional. If they aren't, the laws must be eliminated or changed. As written in the Constitution, the other two branches of the government are the executive, the president and advisors, and the legislative, Congress, in which laws are passed. The Supreme Court cannot hear every appeal. The justices accept about 80 out of more than 7,000 requests, called petitions, each term. They meet as a group, called a conference, to choose cases that are about the most important legal issues of the day, like the Brown case about schools. Each case needs the approval of at least 4 justices to get onto the Supreme Court docket, the schedule of cases. How can the justices read thousands of requests? They have clerks, who are young lawyers, to help them. Clerks are assigned to each justice's office, called chambers, but the justices meet together in private to discuss what cases to hear. The Triangle. The judicial branch of government is responsible for the courts of law, and it is made up of a system of courts called the judiciary. Think of the judiciary as a triangle with 3 layers. The first and lowest layer is composed of federal district courts. These courts decide all kinds of cases, from some types of murder trials to bankruptcy, when people or companies run out of money and can't pay their bills. Cases across the country are tried in 94 federal district courts. Federal cases are usually decided by juries, but sometimes by a judge alone. States, counties, and cities have their own courts as well. If one side in a trial thinks the federal court decision is wrong, it can appeal. That means the case may be heard again by a panel of judges who serve on the next level, the U.S. Circuit Courts of Appeals. There are 13 regional appeals courts, and their decisions can be appealed as well. The case then may go to the Supreme Court, but that's the last stop. When a case is picked, lawyers for each side usually get only 30 minutes to speak before the justices. Although there are limited seats inside the court, the arguments are open to the public, but they aren't televised. The justices ask the lawyers questions and sometimes make comments about the case. Among the justices on the court in 2021, Stephen Breyer, for example, talked a lot, while Clarence Thomas mainly stayed quiet on the bench. The justices do not issue their decisions right away. After hearing the lawyers, the justices sometimes meet afterward to discuss the case further. Then they each decide on their own how to vote. The majority, 5 or more of the 9 justices, wins the case. Justices in the minority can write dissenting, opposing opinions, but that will not change the court's decision. The Chief Justice is called first among equals. The Chief Justice does not have any special powers, but when he votes with the majority, he decides which justice gets to write the opinion. The Chief Justice also swears in each president on Inauguration Day at the Capitol and leads them in reciting their oath of office. Learn to speak legalese. The legal terms, often in Latin, used by the Supreme Court can sound unfamiliar. Here are some translations. Stare decisis. This means to stand by things decided. In other words, a decision made by one court is rarely overturned by a later court. Precedent. How an issue was decided in an earlier case. Opinion. A Supreme Court majority decision. Dissent minority. Statements of disagreement by justices issued alongside majority opinions. Counsel. What a lawyer is called. Petition. A legal filing asking the Supreme Court to hear a case. Oath. A promise to tell the truth in court. Chambers. A justice's office. Habeas corpus. a requirement that a prisoner must be brought to court to determine whether their imprisonment is lawful. Capital offense, a crime that is punishable by death. The Supreme Court sometimes hears appeals from death row inmates.